congratulations on the movie. How cool was it to see it on the big screen, to see it with an audience that obviously adored it?
It's almost indescribable to see it up there and the on the silver screen, so to speak, and to see everything that large and under the power of the stereo too, to hear everything and see everything is really, really amazing. And to have people laugh at the right times and cry at the right times is really important. Putting this together, and it was really, really, really received well. So I'm very happy.
And Roy Jr.?
Oh, it was great to be here in Toronto in this nice theater and see it, the sound, and to see them so big up on the screen, and to really see how it really plays out. You see it on the smaller screens, and it was a great show.
Now, we talked with the audience. They were asking you questions, and someone said, tell me about, life in the Orbison household. Tell me, was there music 24/7? Did Roy ever get mad at you guys? Did he ever lose his temper? Because we see a much different sort of side of him. Tell me just a little bit about that for my listeners, about growing up in a household with one of the most famous musicians, maybe of all time.
All right, Roy will start, and then Alex will finish.
Okay.
Yeah, hey, my name's Roy Orbison Jr., and well, they say everything, all the questions are deep. There's no easy answers. In this case, Roy, we have two older brothers that died before we were born, and that changes you. So we were a second chance for Roy, and I didn't get the feeling. It's only in looking back that I go, oh, he must have. He was there every time we came home. When he came home, he was there at the door looking out the window. He drove us to school as much as possible, and I think that's when you get a second chance. He made up for some lost time with the other boys with us, and we got all that goodness.
Yeah, and then outside of our tight knit family group was people like Bob Dylan stopping by and in the middle of the night visits from some of the coolest people in the world. And as growing up as a child, we didn't know anything else. So for me, it was more about these people as people. And so you really only in looking back do you say, oh wow, that was wild times.
Well, because I was going to ask the next question, of course, is what's it like to have Bob Dylan come by and visit? But as you say, he was just another guy, a famous other guy, but that was your world, right?
It's even a little bit more embarrassing than that at this point, but it makes a funny story. I was playing out in the back of the yard, and a scary, disheveled person comes around, and I take off running because we actually had, even though we kind of had guards and dogs and things, fans still crept in sometimes, and if you were in the back in the pool area, you weren't supposed to be there, so it's stranger danger. So I go running in, and I slam the door, and I lock it, and I go, Mom, there's a scary man outside. She goes and looks, and of course it's Bob making an unexpected visit. And that was probably the first time that I met him, was slamming the door in his face, thinking he was trying to break in the house. It's wonderful though. It's wonderful. What would I say? What's it like, Bob Dylan dropping by?
Or anyone, just the idea, like, would Bob Dylan drop by and would guitars come out automatically? Your dad, you guys play with them?
People would come by. Jeff Lynne, for instance, or Bill Dees would, these
or
people.
Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Or John. I don't know that John Lennon came to the house, but Roy and John Lennon were pretty close at times.
These people would come by the house and they would talk a little bit. And they would have the introduction and get set up. You hungry? You want something to drink? And everyone would talk. And naturally, they would move into the bar room, which was a room especially with big couches, and the acoustic guitars would come out, and there was a piano in there as well. And so the songs would start, and then they would go on for an extended period of time, and the really, really magic situations like that.
Don't you wish there were iPhones back then? So you could have just recorded any of those notes?
Oh, those kind of moments I've had actually since then, to see two or more members of Monty Python singing Only the Lonely and not have a recorder in the room. Those kind of things haunt me. Roy was, towards the end, he felt he regretted a little bit that he wasn't a little bit more openly musical. Music was everything. We had music in every instrument, but it wasn't quite like you'd imagine, like just pulling out that was work. And when he got home, so he didn't like to listen to music because he didn't want to accidentally. You write the song again later. So he sometimes he only listened to specific kind of music. Sometimes that's actually odd that he didn't listen to more music. And he had wished that we'd played more, but there would still be. And it's a fairly complicated question because people would fly from all the way around the world and stay in our house 4 or 5 days and never see Roy. So he was a complicated character. But we had, like I said, whoever happened to be popular at the time. I mean, and that extended all the way past Roy's passing. Whoever was popular, they would be at the house. It was kind of a rite of passage. So we. And as I said, it wasn't just musicians. It was anywhere we went. If Roy was in Toronto, it would be wherever he was, it was the most powerful person. So if you're in a restaurant, the restaurant owner, or and frequently it was politicians or mafia or Hell's Angels, and the whoever the fellow who started the Hell's Angels, or the real, and they'd come by and they would say amazing things. Roy was protected and things like it was amazing to see. So, and he had that experience the whole way through. So if he bought a car, it wasn't just a car; it was a prototype they sent out. Or Roy had the first red Ferrari in America, that kind of stuff, And then Magnum PI comes out, and so it was all the way down the line. Really fortunate, really blessed, and it wasn't so much just surrounded by musicians, but surrounded by talent. It didn't matter, I mean, it could be Rocky Marciano, or it could be from a range. If you were really good at what you did, and you were lucky, you would be around.
Final question, Roy. You guys got to go, and you're tired. You've been doing this all day. I know. I appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to talk to me. When was the moment, if you remember, when you realized that your life wasn't like everybody else's life? Or was there a moment?
Yeah, growing up, our family was so different, just as a family. Even that our dad, Roy Orbison, was factored into our larger family. We were separate and unique, but then, I knew, that things were different. But then even when I was very young, I remember hearing that someone had gotten trampled trying to get into one of the shows, and there was an accident like that. And I remember thinking, it's different than I thought, even more from a talented singer. There was, sometimes crazy things happened. And that was one of those somber moments that you realize that things are really, really different.
And Roy Jr., for you?
For me, I don't think I've even gotten it yet. It sounds funny, but the mathematics of it didn't enter into my thinking, and so I just thought everybody's dad was that in their world. I mean, and the only people that we really knew were similar. It was Johnny Cash. We were kind of isolated, so I didn't do the math to think that not everyone is Johnny Cash and Roy Orbison. Even just the math of seeing one man and thousands watching. I kind of thought in their respective areas that and that sounds funny, but I thought if someone was a plumber, he's the king of plumbers, and the other plumbers all check out what he's doing, and so I never, and even to this day, I've been kind of insulated in a rock and roll bubble for my whole life, and we still, everyone's dad is your hero, and everyone laughs and cries, and so I think that we were raised with humility and things. I never really felt any different. I just
we're still waiting. We're still waiting for Roy's moment.
Yeah,
which is great.
I was always amazed at how much people loved him. That was strange. Maybe here's one of them. Okay, there would be a moment that I realized that things are different for me. I'm 15, 16 years old, walking down the beach in Malibu with Roy, and there's these two beautiful girls, about 17. Just a little bit older than me, and they're coming towards us, and once again, I'm only thinking from my adolescent, I'm thinking they're coming over here. They come over, and they talk to Roy, and they get their picture, and Roy kisses him on the lips, two little 17-year-old girls, and then they didn't even look at me once, and they ran away down the beach, and I just thought, so I realized, I don't know how to complete that story, but somehow just being around their age group, and he was an old guy, and what did they even see in this, and how would they even know who he is, and why didn't they want to talk to me? I'm here, and you want to go surfing, and so that sounds like a funny moment, but that one knocked me over, for these 17-year-old girls to run past me, and I was like in the same age group. I would have liked to have talked to them, and they didn't say a thing. They didn't even notice me. And that was strange to see this old guy. He was 50 years old, and these 17-year-old. And I thought, oh, this has been going on a long time.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.